You can start.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody on board the month of January 2024. We give glory to God for today, that He has been made fit for us to see today. We call upon God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit to be with us, to see us throughout this program. We're going to have a training section. I'm going to talk on developing self-awareness for mission. We're also going to welcome everybody, the Vice Chancellor, Academician Senior Professor, Dr. Chap in General, Ebhoria, Usiholo, Charles. We're welcoming everyone in every part of the country that you are blessed to be. We call upon God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit to be with us as we are about saying the open prayer. Prayer for humility. Oh Father, give us the humility which realizes his ignorance, admits his mistake, recognizes its needs, welcome advice, accept rebuke. Help us always to praise rather than to criticize, to sympathize rather than to discourage, to build rather than to destroy, and to think of people at their best rather than at their worst. This we ask for the name's sake. Amen. Developing self-awareness for mission. Fully welcome. Our contents outline. We're going to look at the area of self-awareness. We're going to look at the area of increasing your self-awareness, what you are, your talents, your spiritual gift, and your uniqueness. These are the things we are going to look at. Also, we're going to look at what is your mission in the organization you belong to and your life. You are being created by God. What did He ask us to come and do on earth? We're going to look at all those ones. And the learning outcome, we're going to look at, we're going to list 4 benefits of developing self-awareness for organization mission. We're also going to describe 2 ways we can sabotage our own growth in self-awareness. We're also going to look at the increased personal values, learning style, attitudes to change, interpersonal orientation, and spiritual gifts. We're also going to look at the different ways you are different from other members of your organization, group, and your school. We are going to list 3 potential areas of your talents and the gifts that are best suited for you in your institution, organization, and life. Just feel free to chat me on the main boss for any question. The next one, we're going to look at why do I think I can handle this topic as a facilitator? Why do I think? I think I can handle it because of my profile here. You can see the profile stating the Vice Chancellor, stating the CEO, Dynamic Peace Rescue Mission International, King of Peace School. Also, my experience I've passed through as the founder of Global Commandant General, Dynamic Peace Rescue Mission International, as one-time chancellors, or 2 or 3 times chancellors in different institutions, as an agency manager, also as a church administrator, as a coordinator in the church, a youth advisor, a choir advisor, theologian as a theologian, former as a faith formator, also as a facilitator, coordinator, different areas. All this one propel me and my educational background. Doctor in different fields, professor in different fields. Of discipline. An assistant professor, a master degree holder in marketing and administration, faith formator, theologian, BSc finance and accounting, PhD in education, a certified counselor, a mentor, a global trainer, a fellow of the Institute of Data Processing and Management, a fellow of the Institute of Professional Managers and Administrators, a fellow and a finalist in Peace Operation Training Institute, OT, USC, a Peace Ambassador. All this one make me to be able to handle this topic. We're going to look at the methodology. Interactive learning. It's going to be interactive. Because of time, I might minimize it, but interactive mainly on our chatbots. The expectations, the wants, the needs, the activities. State it on the chatbots. We're going to interact together there. I will see some of the questions asked. Share responsibility for learning. 40-60 rules for instructions and facilitating and problem-solving approach. We're going to do everything together, most especially, let us be visible on the chat box. Expectations. Your names, organization, your institution, and your role. You can still put it on the chat box for future reference. Previous personal skill, related training. You can also put it on the chat box. One key expectation. They want to have one or two questions you want to ask. A question I would like to have clarity on. I would also like to know about my major interest is what you want to know. You can still put it on the chat box. Your favorite activities outside work, put it on the chat box. We're going to look at the rules for the group. Keep beginners' minds. Remember, freedom to choose. Freedom is a choice. Depends on how you would want it. Use opportunity to learn from each other. Peer learning. Irrespective of what we know, let us behave as if we don't know, so that we can know more. Observe the model training etiquette, phone, punctuality. Let us switch them off. Let's enjoy ourselves and have fun. The stigma of self-awareness. Good to look at the exercise. Very, very important. From the exercise, we can see is step 1, diagnostic survey for self-awareness. Self-awareness assessment. Step 1, please respond to the following statement by writing a number from the rating scale below that is in the left-hand column, which is called pre-assessment. Your answer should reflect your attitude and behavior as they are now and as you would like them to be. Be honest about it. This instrument is designed to help you discover how self-awareness you are so you can tailor your learning to your specific needs. When you have completed the survey, use the score key provided to identify the skill area that are most important for you to master. Step 2, after you have completed the model, cover up your first step of answer, then respond to the same statements again, this time in the right-hand column, which is called post-assessment. When you have completed the survey, use the scoring key to measure your progress. What are the scoring key? We have the rate scales. As in, taking one, that shows you strongly disagree with the statement I'm going to read. Jot it down, write it down. I won't be repeating it. If you have chosen 2, that is disagreed. 3, slightly disagreed. 4, slightly agreed. 5, agree. 6, strongly agree. The assessment goes as follows. Number 1, I seek information about my strengths and weakness from others as a base for self-improvement. Score yourself within 1 to 6. 1, as I said earlier, strong disagreement, agreed. 2, disagreed. Slightly disagreed. Slightly agreed. 4. 5, agreed. Strongly agreed. Put on the chat box. As I repeat again, assessment 1, I seek information about my strengths and weakness from others as a base for self-improvement. Score yourself. 2, when I receive negative feedback about myself from others, I do not get angry or offensive. 3, in order to improve, I am willing to be self-disclosing to others. That is, to share my belief and feelings with others. Score yourself. 4, I'm aware of my personal cognitive style and how I process information. Score yourself. 5, I have a good grasp of what it means to be emotionally mature, and I demonstrate that capability. I have a good sense of how I cope with situations that are ambiguous and uncertain. 6, call yourself. 7, I have a well-developed set of personal standards and principles that guide my behavior. Call yourself. I feel in charge of what happens to me, either good or bad. Call yourself. I suddenly, if ever, feel angry, depressed, or anxious without knowing why. 10, I am conscious of the area in which conflict and friction most frequently arise in my interaction with others. 11, I have a close personal relationship with at least one other person with whom I can share personal information and personal feelings. So that is 1 to 11. To score yourself. So when we look at the scoring key, go to the next. Look at the scoring key. We can see that we have 2 key areas we're going to look at from the question asked, assessment asked, 1 to 11. What are the key areas? 1, self-disclosure and openness to feedback. We also have the second area of awareness of own values, emotional intelligence, change orientation, and core self-evaluation. When we talk of self-disclosure and openness to feedback, you can see it in 1 that says, I seek information about my strength, my weakness from others as a base for self-improvement. We can also see it in 2, openness to feedback. 2 also say, when I receive negative feedback about myself from others, I do not get angry or defensive. When we talk of awareness of own values, emotional intelligence, change orientation, and all self-evaluation, we look at number 4 of the question, assessment question. I'm aware of my personal cognitive style and how I process information. When we also look at number 10 of the question, I am conscious of the area in which conflict and friction most frequently arise in my interaction with others. When we look at 8 also, I feel in charge of what happens to me, good or bad. That shows you have that awareness, you own up your value, emotional intelligence, you change your rotation and call self-evaluation. When we also look at the area of emotional intelligence assessments, emotional intelligence assessments, 2, which is the next one. It reads, please reply to each item below by selecting the one alternative that is most likely to be your response. Think about the way you usually respond to this kind of situation, not the way you would like to respond or the way you think you should respond. No correct answer exists for any of the items, and your scores will be most useful if you provide an accurate assessment of your typical behavior. Mark only one answer per items, just one answer. What is it like? When I get really upset, what do I do? Out of these 3 variables, A, analyze why I'm so disturbed. B, blow up and let off steam. C, hide it and remain calm. 2, in a situation in which a colleague takes credit in public for my work and my idea, I will probably A, let it slide and do nothing in order to avoid confrontation. B, later in private indicate that I would appreciate being given credit for my work and ideas. C, thank the person in public for referencing my work and idea and then elaborate on my contribution. You pick, put it on the notice or the chat box. In a situation in which a colleague takes credit in public for my work and my idea, what will I do? You pick within A to C. I'm going to also look at question 3. When I approach another person and try to strike up a conversation, but the other person doesn't respond. When the person doesn't respond, what do you do? A, try to cheer up the person by sharing a funny story. B, ask the person if he or she want to talk about what is on his or her mind. C, leave the person alone and find someone else to talk to. What do you do? But take one. Put it on the chat box when you take number 4. When I enter a social group, I usually do what? From A to C. A, remain quiet and wait for people to talk to me. B, try to find something complimentary I can tell someone. C, find ways to be the life of the party or the source of energy and fun. What do you do? Put it on the chat box. We will know later. Number 5, on important issue, I usually do what? What do you do? A, make up my own mind and ignore other opinion. 2B, weigh both sides and discuss it with others before making decision. C, listen to my friend and colleagues and make the same decision they do. Put it in the chat box. We will see the best answer from an analysis. We look at the other slide. The emotional intelligence assessments. in the area of self-awareness skill. When someone that I do not particularly like becomes and try to become close to me, I usually do what? A, tell that person directly that I am not interested. B, respond by being friendly but cool and aloof. C, ignore the person and try to avoid him or her. Write down what you do within A and C. Number 7, question assessment. When I am in the company of two people who have diametrically opposing points of view about an issue, for instance, politics, abortion, war, and are arguing about it, what do I do? A, I find something upon which they can both agree and emphasize it. B, encourage the verbal battle. C, suggest that they stop arguing and calm down. 8, when I am playing a sport or the game comes down to my last second performance, what do I do? A, get very nervous and hope that I don't choke. B, see this as an opportunity to shine. C, stay focused and give it my best. Question 9. In a situation in which I have an important obligation and need to leave work early, but my colleagues ask me to stay to meet a deadline, I will probably A, cancel my obligation and stay to complete the deadline. B, exaggerate a bit by telling my colleagues that I have an emergency that I cannot miss. C, require some kind of compensation for missing the obligation. Do you exaggerate a bit by telling your colleagues that I have an emergency that I cannot meet? Or do you say some kind of compensation for missing the obligation, or you cancel my obligation and stay to complete the deadline? A to C, you choose and put on the chat box. Number 10, in a situation in which another person becomes very angry and begin yelling at me, what do I do when somebody is yelling at me? A, get angry in return. I don't take that from anyone. B, walk away. It doesn't do any good to argue. C, listen first and then try to discuss the issue. What do you do? Write it on the chat box. Number 11, when I encounter someone who has just experienced a major loss or tragedy, what do I do? Somebody that has encountered loss or tragedy, what do you tell that person? A, I really don't know what to do or say. B, tell the person I feel very sorry and try to provide support. C, share a time when I experienced a similar loss or tragedy. What do you do? Being A and C, write it on chat box. 12, when someone makes reset or joke or tell a crude story about a member of the opposite sex in Miss Company, you usually do what? Somebody is now telling something about a funny thing, playing joke about somebody. What do you do? 1, A, point out that this is inappropriate and not acceptable, and then change the subject. B, ignore it so I don't cause a scene. 3, C, get really upset and tell the person just what I think of what he or she said. Put it on the chat board. What do you do? Within A to C. We're going to look at it holistically and objectively. We'll go to the next slide. This is where we are going to look at it very well. The two scenarios that have been said. Emotional intelligence score key. Note, the statement below have been reorganized according to the key dimension of emotional intelligence being assessed. The number next to each alternative indicates the number of points attached to them alternative. Circle which alternative you select and then add up the point for these 12 items. Note, it will interest us to know that from the emotional intelligence assessment, the following key we observe. From the assessment we just gave earlier, the following keys we observe. Let's go back and see those assessments. From this emotional intelligence assessment. From the assessment of emotional intelligence in the area of emotional needs, emotional awareness key can be seen in question 1, 5, and 9. 1, 5, and 9. 1, 5, and 9. Sorry. One, 5, and 9. What is say? When I get really upset, I analyze why I'm so disturbed. B say blow up and let off steam. C say hide it and remain calm. Number A is the right answer because it has 10 points. What is it like? When I get really upset, I analyze why I'm so disturbed. While the other two has 0 points. Blow up. You don't need to blow up. You don't need to hide it and remain calm. But what do? You analyze why I so disturbed. That is what we call emotional awareness skill which the person has. When we look at the explanation, only alternative A indicate that you are aware of what's going on inside you emotionally. You are the one who analyze why I should be so disturbed. Nobody will analyze this for you. When we now look at question number 5, question number 5 says, on important issues, I usually A says, make up my own mind and ignore other opinion. B says, weigh both sides and discuss it with others before making a decision. C says, listen to my friend and colleagues and make the same decision they do. From the assessment, you can see that A has 5 points, while B has 10 points. What is that 5 points? That 5 points of A says, make up my own mind and ignore others' opinion. On important issue, I usually make up my own mind and ignore other people's opinion. While B says, weigh both sides and discuss it with others before making a decision. Has 10 points. Weigh both sides and discuss it with others before making the decision. While the C has 0 points. Listen to my friend and colleagues and make the same decision they do. No. A and B goes for 5. You can now see from the analysis the emotional awareness skill the person has. When you look at that, saying that, we can see alternative A may be okay if you are clear about the priorities. If you are clear about the priorities, it's okay. That is A that says, on important issue, I usually make up my own mind and ignore others' opinion. If you are clear about the priorities, but alternative B indicates that you are aware of the possible alternative. point of view. You are aware. So that is why it takes more mark. Weigh both sides and discuss it with others before taking a decision. That's the emotional intelligence skill the person has. Well, that of 9, question 9, you can see there from question 9, it says that in a situation in which I have an important obligation, I need to leave work early, but my colleague asks me to stay to meet a deadline, I will probably A, cancel my obligation and stay to complete the deadline. B, exaggerate a bit by telling my colleagues that I am an emergency that I cannot meet. C, require some kind of compensation for missing the obligation. Okay, looking at this, we can now see that A has no point at all. Yes, has no point because cancel my obligation and stay to complete the deadline has no point. B also has no point. He said, exaggerate a bit by telling my colleagues that I have an emergency that I cannot miss. Look at that. C has 10 points, says, requires some kind of compensation for missing the obligation. For missing the obligation. So let us look at the explanation. Only alternative C, which I just said right now, indicate that your opinion, your own emotional reaction, and will require compensation for the inevitable upset it will create. Look at that. So when we also look at the other side, the other area, we have explained emotional awareness skill. We'll go to the next one. Let us explain also from the analysis emotional diagnosis, which is empathy skill. Emotional diagnosis skill, which is called empathy. From that, we look at question 3, 7, and 11. Question 3, 7, and 11. Let us look. Question 3, 7. Question 3 says, question 3 says, when I approach another person and try to strike up a conversation, but the other person doesn't respond, I try to cheer up the person by sharing a funny story. B, ask the person if he or she wants to talk about it, what's on his or her mind. C, leave the person alone and find someone else to talk to. From this analysis, we can now see that A has 5 points. What are those 5 points? The 5 points is this. Try to cheer up the person by sharing a funny story. B has 10 points. Ask the person if he or she wants to talk about what is on his or her mind. Has 10 points. While the C has leave the person alone and find someone else to talk to, has 0 points. Explanation to that. Alternative A may be appropriate in some circumstances, but alternative B indicate sensitivity to a possible emotional issue on the part of the other person. Look at that. Okay, let us look at that of 7. Question 7 is also emotional diagnosis, which is empathy skill. Question 7 says, when I am in company of 2 people who have diametrically opposing points of view about an issue, for instance, politics, abortion, war, and are arguing it, what do? A says, find something upon which they can both agree and emphasize it. B says, encourage the verbal battle. C says, suggest that they stop arguing and calm down. From the assessment, we can now see sorry, from the assessment of 9 of 7. 7, A has 10 points. 10 points in the sense that find something upon which they can both agree and emphasize on it. While B has 5 points, encourage the verbal battle. Look at that. While C has no points, suggest that they stop arguing and calm down. Explanation to that. A that has 10 points indicates an ability to recognize different emotions, but not to let them get carried away. Alternative B, acknowledge different emotional perspectives, but may engender bad feelings or emotional casualty. Alternative, and does not acknowledge the different emotional communications. We also look at in question 11, that of 11 also. Question 11 also has what we call empathy in it, which is emotional diagnostic skill. What do I mean by that? Look at that assessment. When I encounter someone who has just experienced a major loss or tragedy, what do I do? A, really don't know what to do or say. B, tell the person I feel very sorry and try to provide support. C, share a time when I experienced a similar loss or tragedy. From that point of view, we can now see that A has no points. Really don't know what to do or say. Why won't you know what to do or say? And B has 10 points. Tell the person I feel very sorry and try to provide support, which is very good. Number C said, it has no point. Share a time when I experienced a similar loss or tragedy. Look at that. Somebody died. You want to share your own. It's wrong. That doesn't befit anything contrary than to be sorry and sympathize with that person. Explanation. When alternative B that has 10 points particularly, we also go to the other area of emotional, emotional control, which is also called balance. Emotional control skill is also known as balance. This can be found from question 2, 6, and 10. Question 2, 6, and 10. Let us look at question 2. Emotional control or balance. From question 2 says, in a situation in which a colleague takes credit in public for my work and my idea, I will probably let it slide and do nothing in order to avoid confrontation. 2, later in private indicate that I would appreciate being given credit for my work or idea. C, thank the person in public for referring my work and idea and then elaborate on my contribution. From this point of view, A has 0 points in the sense that let the person slide and do nothing in order to avoid conflict. So has 0 points. B has 5 points in the sense that later in private indicate that I would appreciate being given credit for my work and idea. And C has 10 points. 10 points is saying that thank the person in public for referring my work and idea and then elaborate on my contribution. Why that? Alternative C applies that you are confident enough to alternative B that shall confront the issue, but not in the presence of those affected. Look at that. So when we look at the area of question C also talks about emotional control, which is a balance skill. Question 6. Question 6 now talks about when someone that I do not particularly like becomes and try to become close to me, I usually, 1, tell that person directly that I am not interested. B, respond by being friendly, but close, but cool and aloof. C, ignore the person and try to avoid him or her. From the answer, we can now see, in such case, what do you do as a person? A, tell that person directly that I am not interested. 10 points, ask 10 points. B, respond by being friendly but cool or aloof. C, ignore the person and try to avoid him or her. 0 points. Excuse me. Explanation. Alternative A that has 10 points is honest. If it is done skillfully and avoid being harsh. Alternative B that has 5 points, on the other hand, getting an indirect hit. Indirect hit. We can also see again from where we can get a balance skill, which is emotional control. Question 10. Question 10. You can see question 10 from there. Question 10 says, in a situation in which another person becomes very angry and being yelling at me, what do I do? A, get angry in return and don't take that from anyone. B, walk away. It doesn't do any good to argue. C, listen first and then try to discuss the issue. From that, you can now see that A has 0 points. I said, get angry in return and don't take that from anyone. 0 points. B also has 0 points. Walk away. It doesn't do any good to argue. C has 10 points. Yes. Listen first and then try to discuss the issue. Listen first, then try to discuss the issue. Explanation. Only alternate C demonstrate emotional control. You listen. You listen first. So we can also see emotional response skill in the area of question 4, 8, and 12. Question 4, 8, and 12. Let us look at question 4. Question 4 says, when I enter a social gathering, a social group, I usually A, remain quiet and wait for people to talk to me. B, try to find something complimentary I can tell someone. C, find ways to be the life of the party or the source of energy and fun. A has 0 points, remain quiet and wait for people to talk to me. B has 10 points, try to find something complimentary I can tell someone. Look at that, very good. And C has 0 points, find ways to be the life of the party or the source of energy and fun. Try to find something complimentary I can tell someone, which is very good. 10. Explanation. Alternative A and C may indicate that you are not sensitive to the emotional climate of the group or your behavior may be inappropriate. Look at that. But that of 10 is very, very good, of which at least will be appreciated for that. That shows, that tells us that in that situation, you try to find something complimentary I can tell someone. Something that will make him happy, make her happy. Okay, we also look at in question 8. Question 8. We also have the area of question 8. What do we have there? Question 8. When I am playing a sport and a game comes down to my last second performance, what do? I get very nervous and hope that I don't choke. B, see this as an opportunity to shine. C, stay focused and give it my best. From the assessments, we can see emotional response skill there. Emotional response skill there. In that 8, we can see that 0A has 0 points. Get very nervous and hope that I don't choke. B has 5 points. See this as an opportunity to shine. And C, stay focused and give it my best. Has 10 points. Stay focused and give it my best. Explanation. Alternate B may be appropriate if isn't a sign of narcissism, But alternative C is clearly an indication of emotional control. Stay focused and give it my best. It's always good to stay focused and give whatever thing you are doing your best, and you'll be appreciated. If no one appreciates you, God will appreciate you. God that created heaven and earth, that created every one of us, is the best person that can reward one. When we look at the question 12 also, we can find there that we have emotional response skill there. Question 12, the last question there. What is it saying? It said that when someone makes Christian joke or tell a rude story about a member of the opposite sex in my company, what do I do? Point out this is inappropriate and not acceptable, and then change the subject. Ignore it so I don't cause a scene. Get really upset and tell the person just what I think of what he or she said. From what we have seen so far, we can see A has 10 points. Point out that this is inappropriate and not acceptable, and then change the subject, which is good. And B has 0 points. Ignore it so I don't cause a scene. Look at that. You are not helping the issue. C says, get really upset and tell the person just what I think of what he or she said. That is good. 5 points. But the good one is the first one. Point out that this is inappropriate and not acceptable, and then change the subject. Very good. We can now see all these emotional of a teen, intelligence. These are where we showcase it. So when we know, when we are discussing with people, you're having a rapport, that is the knowledge, you're acquiring knowledge. Ability to acquire knowledge, you'll be able to use it practically, and you'll be fulfilled, and everybody will be happy. Smiles will come. So let us go to the next aspect of it, which is being able to see those emotional response key. All right. We look at the cognitive style or style indicator assessment. Cognitive. This instrument assesses the way you gather and evaluate information and make decisions. There are no right or wrong answer, or the accuracy of your result will depend on the extent to which you honestly answer each question. Please use the following skill in responding to each item. What are the key? Take note of this. Number 1, if you chose one, totally disagree. If you've chosen 2, disagree. 3, neither agree nor disagree. 4, agree. And 5, totally agreed. Totally agreed. Take note of it again. From the assessment as I'm reading, if you know you totally disagree, that is 1. If you disagree, 2. If you neither agree nor disagree, 3. If you agree, 4. And if you totally agree, 5. So you score it as I'm reading. Number 1, developing a clear plan is very important to me. 2, I like to contribute to innovative solution. Put it on the chat box, your answer. 3, I always want to know what should be done earlier. I always want to know what should be done. 4, I prefer to look at creative solution. 5, I want to have a full understanding of a problem. 6, I like detailed action plans. 7, I am motivated by ongoing innovations. 8, I like to analyze problems. 9, I prefer clear structure to do my job. 10, I like a lot of variety in my life. 11, I engage in detailed analysis. 12, I prefer well-planned meeting with a clear agenda. 13, new idea attracts me more than existing solution. 14, I study each problem until I understand the underlying logic. 15, I make definite appointments and follow up meticulously. 16, I like to extend the boundaries. 17, a good task is well-prepared task. 18, I try to avoid routines. Look at that. Okay, from there, let us now go to the next slide that talks about cognitive style indicator scoring key. From the above indicator, we have 3 scoring key skills, which we discover from all those questions. There are 3 things we discover there. What are the 3 things? Skills. Knowing skill, planning skills, and planning style skill, and creating style skill. Okay, what are the knowing style skills? What are they? You can see from what you have said so far, from the above indicator, 3, knowing this, then what are the knowing style skill? In knowing style skill can be found in item 5, 8, 11, and 14. Let us go back and see. Where is item 5? What is item 5 saying? Item 5 said, I want to have a full understanding of a problem. That is knowing skill. Yes. Number 8 says, I like to analyze problems. That is knowing. Number 11 says, I engage in detailed analysis. 14 says, I study each problem until I understand the underlying logics. Good. So let us look at, then add your scores. Whatever thing you have scored so far from the assessment, when I said use your rate scheme, you now add your score and divide by 4 to give you the results of your knowing skill. So we look at the other area of skill, which is planning style skill items. What are the items like? We have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 17 are discussed. Let us look at 3. What is 3 say? 3 say, I always want to know what should be done when an action is being made. I want to know what is to be done. That is planning. That is what? Planning skill. Want to know. I always want to know. You are planning. And number 1 also is saying, developing a clear plan is very important to me. Number 9 says, number 6 says, I like detailed action plans. Very good. That is planning style skill. 12 is say, I prefer well-planned meeting with a clear agenda. 17 is saying, a good task is well-planned, prepared task. Very good. And the last skill is what we call the creating style skill item, which includes 2, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 18. What is 2 saying? I like to contribute to innovative solution. Very good. Number 4 says, I prefer to look at creative solution. Very good. 7 says, I am motivated by ongoing innovation. Very good. And 10 is saying what? I like a lot of variety in my life. 13 is saying what? New ideas attracts more than existing solution. And 16 says, I like to extend the boundaries. Fine. 18 says, I try to avoid routine. These are the creating style skills. So what do? Having gotten your scores, you then add them with your scores. Then you add it. Then add your score with it. Then divide it by 7. You now divide it by 7 to have your cognitive style indicator scoring scheme. We'll go to the next one. The other slide. We have said the other one is a locus of control scale assessment. Locus of control scale assessment. Here, the question as the questionnaire assesses your opinion about certain issue. Each item consists of a pair of alternatives marked with A or B. Select the alternative with which you most agree. If you believe both alternatives to some extent, select the one with which you most strongly agree. If you do not believe either alternative, mark the one with which you least strongly disagree. Since this is an assessment of opinion, there are obviously no right or wrong answer. When you have finished each item, Turn to the scoring key at the end of the chapter for instruction on how to tabulate the result and for comparison data. Number one, what do you what said? Leaders are born, not made. B said, leaders are made, not born. 2 says, A, people often succeed because they are in the right place at the right time. B says, success is mostly depend on hard work and ability. 3, A said, when things go wrong in my life, it's generally because I have made mistake. B said, misfortune occur in my life regardless of what I do. 4A says, whether there is war or not depends on the action of certain world leaders. B said, it is inevitable that the world will continue to experience wars. 5A says, good children are merely product of good parents. B says, some children turn out bad no matter how their parents behave. 6A says, my future success depends mainly on circumstances I cannot control. B said, I am the master of my fate. 7A said, history judges certain people to have been effective leader mainly because circumstances made them visible and successful. B says, effective leaders are those who have made decisions or take action that resulted in significant contribution. 8A says, avoiding punishing children guarantees that they will grow up irresponsible. While B says, spanking children is never appropriate. 9A says, I often feel I have influence over the direction my life is taking. B says, it is unreasonable to believe that fate or luck plays a crucial part in how my life turned out. 10A says, some customers will never be satisfied no matter how hard they try. B says, anyone can get good grade in school by working hard enough. B says, some people are never going to excel in school no matter how hard they try. 12A says, good marriages result when both partners continually work on the relationship. B says, some marriages are going to fail because the partners are just incompatible. 18A, I'm confident that I am improved my basic management skill through learning and practice. B said, it is a waste of time to try to improve management skill in the classroom. Look at that. So let us look at the next slide that says 14. More management skill courses should be taught in business school. B says, less emphasis should be put in skill in business schools. 15A says, when I think back on the good things that happened to me, I believe they happened mainly because of something I did. B says, the best thing that have happened in my life have mainly resulted from circumstances outside my control. 16A said, many exams I took in school were unconnected to the material I had studied. So studying hard didn't help at all. B said, when I prepared well for exam in school, I generally did quite well. 17A said, I am sometimes influenced by what my astrological chart says. B said, no matter how stars are lined up, I can determine my own destiny. 18 says, when government is so big that it is very difficult for any one person to have any impact on what happens. 18B says, single individual can have a real influence on politics if they will speak up and let their wish be known. 19A said, people seek responsibility in work. B said, people try to get away with doing as little as they can. 28 said, most popular people, excuse me, seems to have a special inherent charisma that attracts people to them. B says, some children turn out bad no matter how their parents behave. 21A says, things over which I have little control just seem to occur in my life. B says, most of the time, I feel responsible for the outcome I produce. 22A says, managers who improve their personal competence will succeed more than those who do not improve. B says, management success has very little to add with the competence possessed by the individual manager. 23A says, team that wins championship in most sports are usually the team that in the end have the most luck. B says, more often than not, teams that win championship are those with most talented players and the best preparation. 24A says, teamwork in business is prerequisite to success. B said, individual effort is the best hope for success. Look at that. 25A says, some workers are just lazy and can't be motivated to work hard no matter what they do. B said, if you are a skillful manager, you can motivate almost any worker to put forth more effort. 26A says, in the long run, people can improve this country's economic strength through responsible action. B says, the economic health of this country is slightly beyond the control of individuals. 27A says, I am possessive when I know I am right. B said, I am persuaded. I can persuade most people, even when I am not sure I am right. 28A said, I tend to plan ahead and generate steps to accomplish the goal that I have set. B said, I solely plan ahead because things generally turn out okay. Anyway, 29 said, something I just might to be. B said, we can change anything in our life by hard work, persistence, and ability. Okay, looking at all this, let us now, we are going to do this, the locus, we call it locus of control scale scoring key. Now, we are going to count the number of items you selected from the list below. Like, which is the best answer from inside now. We are going to count the number of items you selected from the list below. For instance, like two now, we have 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, 7, 9, 8, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 23, 23, 25, 26, 28, 29. Okay, like in 2 now, when we go back, look at number 2. Number 2 says what? Number 2 said, people often succeed because they are in the right place at the right time. While the other B said, success is mostly depend on hard work and ability. So we have taken A. In 3, we have taken B. When things go wrong in my life, it's generally because I have made mistake. B said, misfortune occur in life regardless of what I do. Look at that. In 4, B is the right one. He said, it is inevitable that the world will continue to experience war. While A said, whether there is war or not, depend on the action of certain world leaders. While 5, we have taken B in the sense that B said, some children turn out bad, no matter how their parents behave. While A said, good children are mainly product of good parents. So B is the right answer. So let us look at 6. We have taken A. My fortune, so my future success depend mainly on circumstances I cannot control. Not I am the master of my fate. No. It all depends anyway. It depends on you. But this is what we have taken there. Number 7. History judges certain people to have been effective leaders mainly because circumstances make them visible and successful. Why the B said effective leaders are those who have made decisions or taken action that result in significant contribution. No. The other one is the answer. History judges certain people to have been effective leaders mainly because circumstances made them visible and successful. 9. We have taken A. 9. We have taken A. I often feel I have influence over the direction my life is taking. Number 10. We have taken A. Some customer will never be satisfied, no matter how hard they try. Not, Look at B. Number 11. B is taken. Some people are never going to excel. Look at that. Why A say someone can get good grade in school by working hard enough. Right? Some people are never going to excel in school, no matter how hard they try. B. 12 says B. Some marriages are going to fail because the partner are just incompatible. Why A saying good marriages result when both continually work on the relationship. No, some marriages are going to fail because the partners are just incompatible. We look at 13 said B. It is a waste of time to try to improve management skill in a classroom. Why A said, I am confident that I am improving my basic management skill through learning and practice. But B is taking, it is a waste of time to try to improve management skill in a classroom. It's not a classroom. Management skill goes in how you are practicing it, what you are doing, your action. Number 15 says, we have taken B. The bad thing that have happened in my life have mainly resulted from circumstances outside my control. Why 16? We have taken A. Many exams I took in school were unconnected to the material I had studied. So studying hard didn't help at all. We have taken A there. Why in 17, we have taken A. I am sometimes influenced by what my astrologer chart says. So locus, what are we trying to look at? We are looking at the locus of control scheme. So looking at number 18 too, when government is so big that it is very difficult for any one person to have any impact on what happens. 20A, we have taken A. The most popular people seems to have a special inherent charisma that attracts people to them. Why 20A, 21A, things over which I have little control just seem to occur in my life. 22, we have taken B. Management success has very little to do with the competence possessed by the individual manager. 23A, teams that win championship in most sports are usually the team that in the end have the most luck. 25, we have taken A. Some workers are just lazy and can't be motivated to work hard no matter what you do. 26, we have taken B. The economic health of this country is slightly beyond the control of individuals. 28, we have taken A. 28, B. B says, I solely plan ahead because things generally turn out okay anyway. While 29, we have taken A. Something are just meant to be. Something are just meant to be. So you now add all the scores from the assessments. So among the 29 items that are not in the above, and why? There are some items that are not here. We started from 2. Whereas 1 is not here. Also, 8 is not here among the locus of control scale. 8 is not here. That 1 is not here. What is that one? That one is saying leaders are born, not made. Leaders are born, not made. Look at that. It's not here. 8 also is not also here. Avoiding punishing children guarantees that they will grow up irresponsible. Spanking children is never appropriate. And also 14 is not here among the list. 14 says, which is the next one. 14 is saying what? More management skill course should be taught in business school. Less emphasis should be put in skill in business school. 19 is not also here. 19 says that people seek responsibility in work. People try to get away with doing as little as they can. 24 also is not here. 24 says teamwork in business is prerequisite to success. Individual effort is the best route for success. Right on the chat box, why are these 1, 8, 14, 19, 24 not in the list? It's an assignment. So we'll go to the next slide. We'll go to the next slide. The next slide says tolerance of ambiguity of scale assessments. Please respond to the following statement by indicating the extent to which you agree and disagree with them. Fill the blanks with a number from the rating scale that best represents your evaluation of the item. The scoring key is at the end of the chapter. Rating scale. Number 1, if you have taken 1, take note of this also. If you have taken 1, strongly disagree. If you have taken 2, moderately disagree. If you have taken 3, slightly disagree. If you have taken 4, neither agree nor disagree. 5, slightly agree. 6, moderately agree. 7, strongly agree. The question, the assessment goes as follows. Note that we are doing tolerance of ambiguity scale assessment. Number 1, assessment 1. An expert who doesn't come up with a definite answer probably doesn't know too much. Do you agree? Do you strongly agree? Do you moderately agree? Do you slightly agree? Do you neither agree nor disagree? Do you slightly agree? Do you moderately agree? Do you strongly agree? Assessment 2. I would like to live in a foreign country for a while. In a foreign country for a while. People who feel their life to a schedule probably miss most of the journey of living. We just need to thank God. We are going to extend the meeting, the school. I need to appreciate everybody for listening. We are going to appreciate everybody for listening.